Man, that almost went live
Oh,
over the air.
yeah, that was close.
That was very close.
I was braced for it this time, though. Whatever was going to come out of your mouth.
Oh no, am I gonna have to do my first ever post-production edits or bleeps or
Edit out.
or something?
Yeah.
Oh man, that was very close. That almost went out over the. People are listening right now, going, "What
What do we miss?
we?" No, yeah. See, you're like, "What do we miss?" I was gonna say, "Why are we listening to them?"
You've been doing it longer. You have a more realistic perspective.
I might.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. How are you doing?
I am. Man, I'm glad it's Thursday.
You're glad it's Thursday. Oh, it's
Which is
'cause it's
our
our
Friday,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, today I have been going from thing to thing to thing to thing. So
I know you're busy when I see you in the parking lot and then not, and then see you in the parking lot and then not. And I'm like,
yeah.
oh man, he slammed today.
yeah, today was a rough day.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to be here. I still like doing this.
Yeah, me too.
And even though, I don't like myself, I like this.
Wow, that was very vulnerable. You don't like me, but at least I've got this 45 minutes every week.
That's right.
Talk about random topics with my friend.
This fills the God-sized hole in my heart.
Podcasting.
Doing this podcast.
I think that might be more true for people than we
Yeah,
think.
That's right. Oh my
All
gosh.
right. Well, we're off to a solid start.
That's right. Let's both take a drink.
Yeah.
Okay, so you sent me an article from the Atlantic, so you should lead this.
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Which is always a great source of news, but
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, no.
Well, dude, when I see it in my feed and you're linking to the Atlantic, I'm like, oh my gosh, I knew this day would come. Andrew is off the rails.
Yeah.
And he's
No.
gonna be
Well, and this is, episode whatever in trying to not find.
11. I know that.
That's cool.
This is 11.
Yeah. When for the first few weeks we're like, oh, we could talk about COVID and vaccines, and unless it's like really pertinent, like last week.
Yeah, good luck finding a headline article that has nothing to do with COVID or vaccines. Or Biden, yeah.
Or Trump still somehow.
I don't know how.
So this is me trying to find other things that are interesting and noteworthy. And
Yeah.
this topic I think it's interesting because it does, while it is a bigger issue, it also ties into, I think, the last year or so as well.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And the title of the article is What Workism is Doing to Parents. And the whole gist of the article is basically this, that in what they call advanced countries or more developed countries, so U.S. is an example, work is very highly prioritized.
Yeah.
Not only in terms of providing for your family, which is kind of the obvious thing that everyone says,
Yeah.
but there's also a lot of value tied to work in terms of you telling other people what you do. You not just providing for the needs of your family, but keeping up with the Joneses as well is a very subtle undertow in at least in America in working. But what was really interesting, this article was trying to show us, was that at the same time, there is still a desire for people who work these demanding jobs to have families and to raise children and to have a home-centered life. And
which is like, so how do you do that? Because they seem at odds with one another.
Well, and that's kind of, I don't know if it's the point. I think the point of the article is, well, I'll just say the subtitle is, Public Policy Should Assist Families, but not by helping adults spend more time on the job. And so the gist of the article, what they're saying is there is policies in place that recognize this gap and this difference between people spending time at work but actually wanting to be at home. They're saying that those policies aren't working.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
oh my gosh.
Me reading this
the
whole
fact
thing,
that we're trying to legislate how to raise families or help to raise families.
Right.
We're coming up with wrong solutions to the wrong problem.
Yeah.
Go ahead, you can finish.
No, all I really wanted to do is highlight a few things from this, because I don't really want to discuss the policy. I don't really want to just discuss the nuts and bolts of what this article is talking about. I read it and I was like, well, we really know what the answer is, but what I want to do, there's one interesting part that I felt this year, and I wondered if you did as well. It says, policies intended to improve work-life balance do make life easier for many families, which is good, but they also strengthen and extend the claims of work on parents and would-be parents' lives. This is a lesson many of us have learned since COVID-19 struck. Remote work may allow a lot of flexibility, but it also means that work can become pervasive, demanding attention at all hours of the day and night.
Well, when I read that, and certainly listening to you say it back to me right now, I made a comment during COVID where, so I don't know if you remember, like right at the beginning of COVID, I was like doing everything in my power to get rid of my smartphone.
I remember that, yeah.
And I was like, okay, can I find a minimal phone?
Mm-hmm.
Can I find, how do I do this?
Right.
Because everything is geared around apps now. Like everything in my house needs an app to run,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then COVID happens,
Mm-hmm.
and then we all get booted online in a way that, is like extra.
Sure.
So like the whole church goes online, and so I just put it out of my head. It's not something I can really think about or talk about right now.
Yeah.
And we're running apps online, we're running, communication online, services online, all that stuff's happening online now.
Yeah.
So what I found is I couldn't figure out where the lines were anymore.
Yeah.
Because when everything is online and everything's being run from my phone, like it was during those first few months of COVID, like I could be working all the time, publishing, editing, checking, getting communication. So there was, I went through, I'll just confess right now, I went through like a couple months there where I didn't really have a day off from ministry because I was running everything from my smartphone.
Yeah.
For the church.
Big time.
So I don't know if you felt that, but I was like, so like what this article seems like it's saying is like this, everybody's moving home for remote working. And so one of the companies that I worked for before I was in ministry was a company based in Orlando, Florida. They built me a home office, and that went awful as well.
Yeah.
Because like would have, like my wife would walk in and she would be like, your kids are not, or my kids would walk in and they would be like, Dad, what's going on? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm at work.
That's right.
And they're like, no, you're at home.
Yeah.
They can't draw that line.
Yep. Yeah.
So like that, so I don't know if you relate to any of that.
I-
both as a new dad and all the time spent at home.
Yeah, I do have things to say about that. And I would like to say, too, that I really think for some people, clearly you and I are not those people, where working from home really works for them. Like I even know a few people in our church where it's like, that's how they do it, and they are able to do it well.
And they love it.
And they love it.
Yeah.
I knew before COVID that I am not that person. I hate work.
Wait, hold on. I'm getting a word from the Lord. I think he's saying, don't do it.
That's right, yeah. Stop it. I don't mind doing this odd thing or this odd thing at home. It's not like I can't do any work.
Yeah, I kind of like occasionally being able to do things at the house without having to come into the office to do it.
Or like going in the backyard and typing something up. That's great. Like I don't mind that. I'm not like religious about it, but when we automatically went to everyone's working, 9 to 5
all the time
at your, table or whatever, and we share. I share a home with my brother and his wife, and so there's two families living in a home, and
he doesn't wear pants much.
He doesn't wear a lot of pants.
No,
so
that's
good thing our Zoom resolution's so low.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
But so for a lot of people, I think this was sort of placed upon them as a consequence of the pandemic, and I think now a year later, a lot of people probably have gone back, but maybe some haven't. And for me, it was just a confirmation that I really appreciate the boundary of going to work and then returning from work. And like I need that commute, even though for me it's like 10 minutes or less, like to switch.
And I know we're on a little bit of a tangent and off topic here a little bit, but like also, oh gosh, what was I going to say? Oh, I remember when all those tech companies announced, hey, we're just going to do this forever now. And I don't know if you remember me saying, I was like, That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
They're going to get a couple years into this, and they're going to go, so you can't keep everyone accountable when they never come to work.
Yeah.
You know what? Everybody come back. We're coming back. Let's go. There's no way that's going to be sustainable. It's not a chance.
Yeah, for sure.
You'll be able to do some things, maybe even most things remote, but not all things.
Yeah.
You can't keep a company on brand and on mission when everybody's scattered and they're never in the same place.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
We learned that.
Yeah, we did. Well, and I think that, they really hit the nail on the head with the wording here. It may allow a lot of flexibility to work from home.
Yeah.
But for a personality like mine, it takes me time to get in the rhythm of working on something.
Yeah.
Especially something that requires a lot of focus, like a sermon or.
Yeah, so you could say, like, this is going to come out of my mouth terrible. Your family is an interruption to the rhythm of work, and your work is always going to be an interruption to your rhythm of family.
Yeah.
So then when everybody's at home now we have no rhythm in either.
Yeah, because I would actually say that the reverse is true as well. Like if I'm home, if I show up at home, but I'm still like checking an email for a message I thought I missed, or I'm like expecting a text message and I'm always looking, or if I'm just lazy and scrolling, like it takes me a while to get momentum being present at home as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm finding that to be more and more true, and
Yeah, the separation of church and state, so to speak, at least in this example,
Right.
I think is really important. So then when you get to the topic of like, okay, we want to have a family, but we're working the problem backwards. In other words, because even Christians have kind of fallen victim to the whole like, we're going to define our hopes, dreams, and ambitions first with respect to our careers, and then try and orbit all of these other concentric ambitions with respect to family peripheral to that, meaning second. And that's like impossible. Like I've said a bunch of times, like, for example, when it comes to vacations, most people schedule their vacations around work because work is the center circle. Okay, so everything orbits around that.
Yeah.
And so we've talked about it here as a staff and said, no. The first thing you calendar at the beginning of every year, to the best of your ability, should be your vacations.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll never take them.
Right.
Because work is always happening. If you're just looking for a window where there's no ministry to do or no work to do, and this is why so many Americans only use 50% of their vacation on national average, because they try and squeeze their vacation into, they drop the stone, that's work, and they ask every river to flow around it.
Right.
And the same thing here, like if you're trying to have a family and if work's the highest priority for you guys as a family, you're just going to be like, well, the government needs to get involved, or, this needs to be more provided for us, or our employers need to take more responsibility for this. That's not the problem. You're working the problem backwards.
Right.
I don't know if
No, I hear that, because actually what I wrote at the bottom of this was, work is good, ambition is good, but we must take stock and reverse engineer. Like, that's it.
That's what I mean by working the problem. We're working it back, or I should say we're working the problem forwards. Instead, we should be working it backwards.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Because when you talk to people at the end of their life, like, I haven't heard anyone say, I regret that I spent so much time with my family.
Well, it's funny because he quotes at the beginning of this article. It's very strange.
Yeah.
He quotes from my favorite book of the Bible, which is How You Had Me with your Atlantic article, you jerk.
Yeah, well.
It says, the author of the biblical book of Ecclesiastes, I'm like, what?
I know.
Argued, meaning it's not true, he's just arguing it, that toil and labor are meaningless.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, this guy has no ability to nuance a Hebrew book of the Bible, apparently.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't know why I expect that he will.
Yeah.
But anyways, like, okay, well, what's the point of that verse? The point of that verse is, like, work is not the end all. It's meaningless. It's a vapor. It doesn't last.
Right.
It's not the highest goal and priority this
Right.
side of, eternity.
Right.
And so when you put your family, for example, and you juxtapose it against a career, when all is said and done and the
Yeah.
vapor has cleared, you're not going to wish you had worked more.
Right, right. Well, it's like when Jesus says anyone who doesn't hate his family,
Yeah.
it's the same kind of
Yeah, yeah, in
language,
comparison,
right?
yeah.
And so it's, I once heard someone talking about, teaching men to order their life, and it was to be with God's first, and then
You're
your
talking about
spouse.
Jordan Peterson? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, the mighty prophet Jordan Peterson.
Anytime somebody starts
wow,
with
we're-
men ordering their life, I always assume they're going to talk about Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
YouTube just took our video down.
No! No, they took it down when you said Donald Trump.
That's right. That's right. We've been off. We're speaking to no one right now. Just faded in the back. Christian, spouse, parent, and then vocation.
Yeah.
And for how many of us have taken vocation and put it even at the top of that list? Because here's the thing: is it always feels like the most urgent and demanding thing
It's
in
the
your life.
thing that defines who we are. It's the
Right.
thing we have spent most of our life in school moving
Yeah.
towards. It's the thing that provides for the people we love
Yeah.
and for the things that we love.
Right.
So, I get how that ended up at the top of the pyramid.
Right. Right. For sure. Yeah.
But listen, if something's going to be at the top of the pyramid, something's going to have to be at the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Two things can't be. You
No.
can't say I value career and family. That sentence is a oxymoron.
Yeah. Yeah. They can't be equally valued, and for there to not, one of those is going to win.
Yeah.
And usually it's work, unfortunately.
Yeah. Usually it's
Yeah.
work. Yeah.
The other interesting thing I just wanted to highlight in here was the difference between different countries and how they view work.
Yeah. Go for it.
They said the effect, let's see. I'll just say in India, Brazil, or Tanzania, assigning a lot of value to work makes a lot of sense, given that the life prospects of people without work in lower income countries are extremely bad in objective terms. But in highly developed countries, defined as those by some metric, the relationship flips. So other more developed countries, Sweden, Netherlands, Canada, and U.S., placing a high importance on work.
Sweden? Did you say Sweden?
I did. Shout out to Sweden. Yeah.
Shout out to Sweden again. Sorry.
Placing a high importance on work is unlikely to be associated with basic material needs, this is the kicker, and more likely to be associated with finding meaning or social prestige from work. For a young adult in a rich country, assigning a lower importance to work isn't likely to lead to an untimely death.
Okay, so summarize that.
So what's interesting about that is, and actually you over the years have helped me see this more clearly, where as a young man I was very concerned about providing for my family and finding a job to provide for my family.
We all are.
We
Yeah,
all are,
I
and
get that.
I think that's a good and noble.
Place to start.
But I grew up in Marin County, California, and so my idea of what it looks like to provide for a family on a world stage is
Yeah.
completely upside down.
Yeah. I mean, even within the United States, it's upside down.
It is, yeah, yeah. And so I think for a lot of people in America, I'm working hard. How dare you threaten, how dare you speak ill of me working? I'm working hard to provide for my family.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you providing what you need for your family, or are you in a job working way more than you should, where you could work 2/3 of that time or half of that time and be more present
Yeah.
and still have what you need?
Yeah.
Now, I know that there's a ton of variables in what I just said,
Yeah.
but the principle remains the same,
Yeah.
in that most of us aren't, a portion of us, a lot of us aren't
Many.
working, I don't know. Try not to offend anyone.
Indeterminate number.
Yes.
You try not to offend anyone. Oh, man. What Andrew is trying to say is you all suck.
Yeah,
So,
that is what I'm trying to say.
no, go ahead.
A lot of us work
Address your comments, Dan.
way more than we should because our priorities are upside down.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. And I think it was interesting that in a lot of countries, that's not the case. You work a job, and you do that job to, like, You don't have the luxury to be like, I'm going to try to find the most fulfilling career. More of your fulfillment is in your family.
Yeah.
And that's what the article goes on to say as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the takeaway from this is that, a rightly ordered life produces more flourishing and joy.
Yeah.
And so now the question is, well, who decides what a rightly ordered life is?
Right.
Well, if you're in one culture, it's going to look one way. If you're in another culture, it's going to look another way. And so that's what we're all literally scrambling to figure out. It's the thing that for many of us inhibits most of our joy is like, oh man, okay, my life's still not rightly ordered. What's a rightly ordered life?
Right.
Well, you kind of nailed it earlier, on a biblical scale. If the Bible is objective, truthful, authoritative, and God's gift to us for flourishing, well, then it stands to reason that we should look to it for what is a rightly ordered life. Because when things are rightly in order, so's our joy, so to speak.
Right. And I think there's so much wisdom to be gained in learning. It can feel often like, I know the Bible has things to say about ordering my life, but so does this book, and it's way shorter that I found on Amazon.
Yeah, Jordan Peterson. It's way shorter than the Bible.
And it's really tempting to try to like life hack our life.
Yeah.
Instead of just like, the Bible's like, hey man, like God first, and then there is a series of ways that you can examine your life to say, what are my priorities, and what is my life actually showing me my priorities are versus what I'm saying my priorities are.
Yeah.
And so this article was, all I really wanted to do was talk about the things we talked about, and just as a reminder to me and to us that, hey, like this last year's been, I think, work and has bled into our lives a lot in the last year because everything's been so different and hands-on. Just a reminder to reverse engineer, to think about what matters most, and to sow into the things that are the most meaningful.
Yeah, semper prima Christus, Christ first, and then from that flows, all kind of order. So this is good. This was really, really helpful. I don't know if our next conversation is going to be as helpful as what you just.
I think it might be.
I just don't. I think we started with the wrong topic, to be honest.
That's all right. Well,
so I have a man crush on Ben Affleck, and no, we need to edit that out. I sent you an article on Ben Affleck.
You did.
Because apparently he nearly broke the internet.
Yeah, which I was like, oh goodness, what did he do? And it was actually worse than I thought.
Well, worse, but not worse.
No.
It was like, I read it and I was like, really? That's what he did? And why does everybody care about that? And anytime I see something that seems insignificant that everyone cares about, it's not insignificant. So I'm trying to like parse out,
for sure,
what do I think's going on there? So here's the background. So apparently Jennifer Lopez, by the way, broke up with A-Rod in other news.
Which was
and
news to
so
me.
everybody's trying to, ship these two together. But anyways, just before people started seeing them together, he was apparently using like a dating app.
Yeah.
And apparently the dating app is specifically for like
high profile.
Yeah, for snobs.
Yeah.
So it's this celebrity-based dating app that,
Right.
Makes sure that you don't, end up on a date with somebody who works the register at Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Listen, man, I'm just trying to paint a picture
No,
here.
I got it.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
I'm a terrible person. And so there's apparently this TikToker,
This is the best
which is
episode
so
ever.
much better.
That's right.
I'd rather take the Jack in the Box girl, to be honest. Naveen J, he hits her up on this app, but she's not buying it.
Right.
She's like, there's no way this is really Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And he's trying to convince her over this app. Like, no, it's really me.
Yeah.
I'd like to go out on a date or
Right.
whatever. And she's like, no, I'm not buying it. This
Yeah.
is not really Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
So she like defriends him.
Right. Unmatches.
Unmatches him or whatever on
Yeah.
this app.
Uh-huh.
And so then he reaches out to her, I think on like Instagram or
Yeah.
something, and sends like video of himself going, "Why did you unmatch me? It's Ben.
Yeah.
It's really me.
It's really me."
And she's like, "Oh no, what have I done? I missed my chance.
Yeah, right.
To be with the worst acting Affleck." And so this video clip of him somehow made it onto the internet, like as if that wouldn't have happened.
Well, she put it on, didn't
Yeah,
she?
yeah. So she puts the video out, just basically being, "Oh, I missed my chance with Batfleck," and I liked him as Batman.
Yeah.
But anyways, and everybody watched this video.
Yeah.
Everybody cares. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody, half the people are like, "Weirdo, why are you using a dating app?"
Yeah.
Half the people were like, "Oh, it's really him. It's
Yeah.
amazing."
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just want to know, why do people care about this kind of stuff so much? Because it seems pointless. Now, I have something I want to get to.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about it like a couple layers more shallow first.
Yeah, for sure.
So why do you think anyone gives a rip about this?
Well, I think.
Why do we give a rip?
Yeah, why do we
That's the
care?
better question. How did we get here?
What I kind of like came away with personally was I'm always a little bit taken aback and somewhat comforted when celebrities are like proven to be normal people. When it's like,
oh, you see, you got to it real quick. Where I
oh,
wanna get
sorry.
to. No, it's good. No, that's good. Go
but
ahead.
I'm just like, maybe not on TikTok or a dating app, but all of us can like, well, maybe not all of us, but I can remember back to like middle school, high school, and like that feeling of like, that lack of reciprocity and love or crush or whatever it is, and that like desperate. It's. I know he's like kind of doing it tongue in cheek, but like if you listen to it one way, it's like, please match with me. I'm so lonely. And there's something humorous about that.
Because that's how I would sound if I was still in the game.
Yeah.
If I was still in the game, I would be like, please, please, somebody.
Reconsider. I'm the man of your dreams. But like, there's something that's like, oh, even celebrities feel that way. Where like and
Well, it's not like how Peyton would be on a dating app. Because if Peyton was on a dating app, it would just be like, nope. Nope. Just him in a computer going, nope. Nope. Nope.
it's just swiping through, denying endlessly.
It's just God's grace that we all were chosen by good women.
Seriously.
Quickly, soon, early.
Soon and very soon. So I don't know. It's just funny to me. And like, he's been with, I don't know all the.
Did you
people
just
he's been
quote
with.
like a hymn?
I quoted a worship song.
Did you just do soon and very soon?
Yeah, I
did you
did.
throw that up?
I did.
You
While
didn't
talking
think
about
I'd catch
TikTok.
it?
and
Yeah,
dating,
you didn't think I would catch it. I don't know.
I wasn't sure. I just threw it out there.
Okay, go ahead.
I just think it's interesting that someone like, and he's been with women that,
You don't say. He's been.
No, like,
been-
I don't know. It wasn't even. All these celebrity women that like are objectively beautiful in the world's eyes.
Yeah.
And here he is, like years later, still like
Trying to get it together.
trying to get it together
on a dating app.
And there's just something so vulnerable about that, and so like anticlimactic about that I think, and unfortunately, I think people like to mock things like that because it makes us all feel more like on the same level.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think like, I'm a diehard Dodgers fan. I remember, like, years ago, on Instagram, I, like, made a comment on the Dodgers, official page. And, there's, like, millions of people following that page.
Right.
And, like, the Dodgers commented on what I wrote. And I was like, they talked to me.
I know. I know.
They did it. They talked to me.
That's right.
I did for 5 minutes. I was like in such a great mood.
That's right.
I was like, hey,
Everyone in this house will address me differently.
Yeah, that's right. I was like, you may now address me as Sir Alan.
That's right.
I'm like, what is that about? What is that going on? And
Yeah.
like, 6 months ago, like, there's an Instagram account like Labs of Instagram, and I'm like, pick my puppy.
That's right.
Pick my puppy. Show my puppy on your page.
That's right.
I'm like, what is going on there?
He's the goodest boy. How could they not pick him? Just turns us into weird people, man.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
But
And
I get it. I get it.
I'm 100% certain I know what's going on there, is that there's something in us that wants to see, like, quote unquote royalty condescend
Yeah.
to those who are not.
Yeah, yeah. There you go.
And and that's like we want to feel on the same plane, man.
We want the untouchable to be touchable.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so in that, for me, like when I'm reading this article, I'm like, oh, there's the gospel again. Like we want Christ condescends
yeah.
into human form, into human flesh, on a human plane, to broker peace with us. And he becomes very accessible in that moment.
Yeah.
He becomes one of us, Emmanuel.
Yeah.
And that is just written into into the marrow of our bones.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's playing out in something as silly as Ben Affleck condescending into,
Yeah.
a dating app,
Right.
and being a regular guy.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
Yeah. Well said.
all right, should we end there?
I don't have anything else insightful to say.
All right, see you next week.
See ya.